Welcome to the Brigham Young University Family History Library for this webinar presentation. Today's class is Beginning Ancestry Series number 3, Searching and Adding Information and Sources. If you've missed the 2 previous webinars in this series, you can access them by going to our archive page, as mentioned above, at the BYU website. Our presenter is Nancy Busby. She has an extensive background in family history and genealogical research, especially conversant with the Ancestry program. We appreciate her willingness to volunteer her time and share knowledge and insights into this subject. We'll now turn the time over to Sister Busby.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon, or joining me. I'm glad to be able to share with you a little bit about Ancestry, and this class will be doing searches in Ancestry and adding information to sources, and I'll also talk a little more about the profile page that we started to do last week. Next week's class, I'm scheduled to teach more about using your Ancestry DNA tests. So if you've had a DNA test, you might want to tune in for that one as well. All right, one of the things that I ended up with last time is on the profile page, there are some research tools that are available, and so I'd like to go over those. And those can be found on the profile page right underneath the person's name. And if you don't see that when your Ancestry account is open, you can go to the Tools tab on the top right, and it is second from the bottom, Show Research Tools. So you can toggle that on or off as you desire for your personal account. I personally like to have it open because it's just a quick shortcut. So let's go over those now. First one we'll talk about is View in the Tree. When you click on View in the Tree, it's going to take you from the person's profile page and place them in the #1 position in the family tree. And that's how you can get to that individual on the tree. If you want to go back to the profile page, just click on their name and select Profile from the summary card. Okay, the second item on that toolbar is View Notes. When you click on View Notes, it will open a tab on the right-hand side of the screen where you can then type in notes or see notes that you have written. So this is just a quick shortcut to get to those notes. Anything you want to type about the research you're doing on this person. And just a reminder, notes are private, only you can see them, or if you've invited other people to view your tree, then they would also be able to see those notes. But otherwise, those are private and just something that you will be able to see. The next toolbar item over is View Comments. It's somewhat similar to notes in that you can type information over there on the pop-out on the right-hand side. But just be aware that anything you type on there, if your tree is public, then your comments are public. And so if you have a public tree, other people can make comments on the individuals on your tree, and those are also public. So when you type something in someone else's comments, those are public comments as well. So that's kind of the difference between notes and comments, and that's how you can get to them. And these are specific to individuals on your tree from their profile page. If you want to get to the tags, that is this little pencil icon right above that menu. And that will also open up this pop out to the right, so you can see what tags are there, and you can add tags and change them if you want. At the bottom, it's kind of covered up from the screenshot, but at the very bottom of that, if you click on edit, you can, I think it's edit, you can add or delete tags from a person. All right, merging with duplicates. Sometimes you might have a person that you bring in that is a duplicate with another person. So this is within the same tree that I'm talking about. When you have multiple trees in Ancestry, just to clarify, there's not a way to merge those like 2 separate trees together. So this is dealing with merging a duplicate within a single tree. So I'm just going to kind of show an example of merging a duplicate. So I'm going to click over here under additional parent relationships on the right-hand side. It shows as biological parents, Barnett Dempsey and Winifred Barnett on the right. And when I click on additional parent relationships, it shows me that there's a second biological father. And so I've got two fathers with the same name. And I know that these are probably the same guy, that he's just been added twice in the tree, or I input him a second time and didn't realize it. So I want to merge those two people together. So I'm going to want to go to the person who I want to merge. And now I'm on his person page. So I'm going to click on merge with duplicate, and the arrow off to the right is just showing that you can access this from the toolbar on the top right if you don't have these tabs open or toggled on. So when I click merge with duplicate people, it's going to show the individual whose profile page I came from on the left-hand side. And then it's going to ask me to select a duplicate person or type in the name of the person to find them in the tree. So I start typing, and it gives me some options. And it also tells me, here's the person in light gray that's already selected as person one. So I know to click on the one above that has the same name. And once I've selected that duplicate person, it will bring them up side by side. If you do click on a person and you realize that's not the right person, you just click on select a different person. But over here on the left, there are some buttons, like if a spelling is different or a date or a place is different, you can click on that button to update that information, or you can toggle those on and off depending on how you want. And if it's the same information, it will say the same. And then you can also do that on the right-hand side. If the information on the right is more correct and you want to toggle that button on, you can. And then you click compare after you decide. I already talked about selecting a different person if you don't have the right person brought up. So when you click compare, it brings up the two people side by side with a little more information. The first screen is just a brief preview, but you get a lot more detail between the two people side by side here. And once you're satisfied that these are the right people and you've checked those comparisons, then you can click merge. And it's going to take me back to the father, Barnett Dempsey, and I can see here he is with the spouse, and here's his son, Jesse. So I want to go back to Jesse's page and make sure that I only have one parent. And now I don't see that option that says additional parents shown. So whether or not you see an additional person or not on the screen, if you know you've put them in the tree somewhere as a duplicate, this is where you can merge with duplicates within your tree. All right, if you want to save someone to the tree, you can save an individual from one tree to another. So if you have two trees that have similar lines on them and you don't want to have to retype information into a second tree, you can save an individual to another tree, and that's what Save to Tree is going to do for you. So once you click on that, it brings up this option to select which tree you want. Go back to that page. So in this case, you can click the down arrow and see all of the different trees you might have, or you can click add a new person. And then here's the person that I want to add in the tree, and I click save. Add or delete information. You can change any of those boxes of information. And the thing that you need to realize is it brings in the individual into the new tree as an individual. And so to link them to other people in the tree, you'll need to select to add parents or siblings. So in this case, I'll say add mother. Select someone in your tree is this option on the left. You can always add a new person if they're not already in the tree, but if they're already there, just click on select someone in your tree. And I typed in Jane, brought up Jane Doe, his mother. And once you select the person that is already in there as the person, unless you want to just add a new person and type it in anyway, you select them and click save. And now you'll see that that individual on this tree, the Doe family tree, is entered. And then you would continue on with adding the family members to tie them into that tree. All right, the other shortcut item on the resource tools is the print option. And when you click on print, it is going to print all the information about that individual whose profile page you're coming from. So it's got all of their facts about their life on the left, their family in the middle with their parents, spouses, and children if they have them, and the sources that you have attached to that person. And then you can also customize what you see on this print. So if you click on the customize button, you can toggle on and off. So maybe you don't want to see the sources on your print, or you don't want to see historical insights in addition to the information about the person. There, it gives you a few options that you can toggle on and off there. And then on the right-hand side, if you do want to print and use any of the resources within Ancestry to print a family history book, or you can do a calendar, poster, different options. Those are done through My Canvas. And those are some of the paid features through Ancestry that are available to you, but you can just print to your personal computer, or a computer if you're in a library somewhere, or a facility that has a printer that you have access to. So you've got a couple of different ways to print things within Ancestry. When you go to, if you click on the My Canvas options, it's going to walk you through all of the different things that are available there. And I don't go into that with this presentation, but I just want to make sure that you're aware that that is an option within Ancestry. It could be a resource that you want to take advantage of. Okay, so printing to your computer, you just select the print button and go through the print parameters on the printer you're sending it to. Select the printer, or if you want to just save it as a PDF so you have a digital copy of it, those options are there. Okay, the last one is Member Connect. So let's look at what you can see if you click on that option, what's available to you. So when you click on Member Connect, it's going to bring you to a place where it has pulled in other trees that people have as public on Ancestry that have the same person that is on your tree. So right now you'll see this Member Connect for this Jesse Dempsey. There are 2 connections, and there are 11 suggested connections. One reason why I use this feature sometimes is when I want to collaborate with other family members who are doing research on a similar line as me. So it's kind of a quick way to connect with people who have the same people on their tree as you. You can also click on recent activity. That's going to show you if any of the connections you have made any changes or updates or added sources and that kind of thing. You've got options here on the right-hand side to toggle on and off what you want to see under recent activity or not see, as the case may be. And then the third tab over is suggested connections. So there are 10 other possible connections that I can look at and decide if I want to collaborate with these other people in the Ancestry member family who are doing research on the same line. So you can scroll up and down on those and see what they have and decide if you want to connect. If you want to connect them to your person and contact them, you just click the connect button. You can also click ignore if it's one you want to pass by, so it doesn't continually show up on your suggested connections. But if you do want to connect, you just click on it and it shows you the information about their tree and what their member name is, and the information about your tree will show up on the right. Okay, so that takes care of all of the tool resources and what's available there. Profile tabs, just going to go over those. They're relatively self-explanatory, but if you're new to Ancestry, you're just getting familiar what's there, this is a good review to know what you're looking at and how to get to these different things. So First thing I'll look at is life story. So when you click on life story, there's this little preview here about the person. And this can also be controlled. This can also be controlled in terms of what gets typed in there automatically. If you go to trees and create and manage trees, I went over this in Ancestry 1, but it's kind of related back to this. Anyway, if you want to edit this, there's an edit button. But if you click on the manage trees and go to the tree settings for the tree that you're looking at, there is under tree info. So once you click on that tree settings under tree info, there's a little checkbox that you can check and uncheck that is to automatically build stories for this tree. It's defaulted to on, but if for any reason you want to have that be off so those aren't automatically created, this is where you turn that off so you don't get that kind of pre-prepared life story. And that draws from the data and the dates and the information that you put in the tree. So that's where that automatically created one comes from. Over on the right-hand side, back on the profile page, you can decide if you want to, under life story, if you want to show family events and or historical insights. Those are things you can toggle on and off in the view there. And you can also add events to the person's life. So there might be an event that maybe isn't necessarily associated with your basic birth, marriage, death information that the kinds of things you look for first. So you might want to put in an event like they lived in France from 1909 to 1911. You could add that as an event on this timeline if you want to. So you can create your own custom events. And then to edit the pre-programmed life story that comes up or anything that you add in and type, you just click on edit, and then it brings it up like a Windows box. You can start typing in, so you can change the information, add information, copy and paste from maybe another Word document that you've already created a life story on. So that's how you can change that and edit and update that. Once you're done, you just make sure you click the save button. All right, the facts tab. This is where the meat of the stuff about the person is, right? This is where all your bread and butter is. So you've got a preview of all the facts on the left. In the middle, you have your sources, and on the right, the information about the family. And as you scroll down from this page, you can also do a search on Ancestry on that for that specific individual to see if there are any documents on Ancestry that are available. And you can also add family over here on that right-hand column at the bottom or at the top. I think they added at the top too, if I recall. Yes, there's an add button on the right. So it's got it at the top and the bottom of the family column. And then the left two columns, the facts column, it also has add fact at the bottom. If you have a really long list of facts, you can always access it from the bottom. And then you can add sources and web links from outside of Ancestry as sources to your Ancestry tree. So that's going to show up down there as well. All right, we're going to go to the gallery. When you're on the gallery, it's going to bring up any images or videos, audio that you have, any media, digital media that you've added to the person. And over on the left, there is some options to toggle things on and off, how you're going to view the media for this person. So when you click on show, you can say, I want to see everything. I want to see just photos. I want to see just stories, just audio, just video, or any combination of those. Just check those on and off. And then, of course, it will also allow you to sort. It gives you different sorting options, alphabetical or by date or by media type. On the right-hand side, this is where you add media for this individual. You can upload photos, stories or create stories from there. You can also click on the upload media in the middle. There's always 2 or 3 ways to do the same action, it seems like. So, all right, upload stories. If you want to upload a story, it's going to open up this window or this view, and you can click and drag from your file explorer, your file location, depending on the device you have, or you can just click on choose files and go to browse your device. It might be on a flash drive, it might be on your hard drive. And you can upload stories directly to that individual from here. And you can also type or create a story directly from here. And if you click on that option, it's going to ask you, do you want to write a story or do you want to upload a story from your app here? But anyway, you have both options. So if you want to write a story and you select that, it's going to prompt you to title the story and then allow you to start typing. Or again, you can copy paste any text that you have into this window as well. When you scroll down, you'll see that you have some options with giving it a description, maybe a location. Maybe you're typing up a story about a camping trip and you want to type about your trip to Yosemite. You can put your location in there and the date the event took place. You can also remove an individual from the story. So because I came from Jesse Dempsey's person page to create this, it has him listed, but I could remove him from here, or I can click on add another person if there are multiple people in the story that I want to have this information associated with. And you'll want to click the I accept this content submission agreement, and then make sure you click on save the story. There's lots of times when you need to click save when you're adding information in Ancestry, so make sure you do that or you lose what you've done. And then if you want to select I want to upload a story from my computer from here, it's going to open the same window that we looked at before where you can select what type of document and choose the file. Or you can drag it directly from the file folder into the screen. That will also put it there. Just note the maximum file size is 15 megabytes. So just make sure you don't exceed that or it won't work. And that's per entry, so that's not the total. All right, and then of course, upload media. You can always just click on that and it's going to take you to this same window to upload the media, drag media in or choose files. It'll walk you through it when you click on those. So here I'm showing a file that I'm uploading, and I've got over on the right, it's going to ask you to type in information about the media that you're uploading. So just fill that in. It also shows who it's linked to. So if you want to add other people, just click the blue add plus button. And when you're done filling all that in, just click the done button. Similar to save. They're going to trick you on this one. Just say done. And then you'll see that it will show up as a thumbnail on your media gallery. All right, the fourth one over is hints. So Ancestry, it does a great job of looking at the information that you input about a person, and it just data mining, that's what I call it. It just runs through all of the different documents that Ancestry has uploaded and has indexed, and it starts giving you suggestions of documentation that may be associated with your ancestor. So these are opportunities to look at hints that they're coming up with and determine if it is associated with your ancestor or not. So if you want to look at all the hints associated with the person, this is the tab that you'll want to click on. Once you're on this page, over here on the left, you'll see there are 3 new hints. So you can scroll up and down and take a look at those. You'll see often at the top of the page, Ancestry member trees. So these are other public member trees that Ancestry is saying, hey, they've got someone with the same name and dates as you. Do you want to take a look at these? You can actually link or associate other people's trees to your individual from here too. Kind of similar to Member Connect, but not quite as specific to the individual's tree. Just another way to look at it. If you do want to look at the member trees, click on Review. And we're going to talk about member trees now. Member trees, they're people just like you and me with varying levels of expertise and knowledge about this specific branch of the tree they're working on, and how much time they've spent doing research in family history. So you've got everybody from I just got an account to I'm a professional, I've been doing it for 40 years. So how do you deal with the information that you find on member trees? Here are just a few suggestions that hopefully are helpful to you. I don't ever add new information, just carte blanche to my tree when I find it on other people's trees. There is an exception to that rule. If you know a person and you know that they're a credible, reliable source for you, maybe you might be able to just copy from their tree to your tree. But you really need to use your best judgment on that. I would say that's definitely the exception in the rule. The other thing that I do is I definitely use member trees as a resource to broaden my research. I will often look at other member trees that come up as hints because I want to see, well, gosh, what sources do they have for their people? Do they have information about them that I don't know? Do they know who their mother is? Do they have siblings I don't have? And when it's someone's public tree like that, you have the opportunity to go look at their tree and see what sources they have attached and what dates and places, and then you can determine for yourself if the information you're seeing there, if you agree with it or not, and then you can copy and add from their tree to yours. But always look at their tree, like I said, review their sources and see if they're sources that you agree with, and think of their tree as a place to find clues to do more research for yourself. Always pay attention to name and date variations, even if people don't have sources that show a documented relationship, say between a parent and a child. If I don't have parent information and I see someone's tree who does, maybe I look at it, they don't have sources. Well, they got that from somewhere, right? Whether it was grandpa's papers they went through and they just added it on their tree and didn't give a source. But it gives me a clue to do research in that direction and see if I can find some sources that will corroborate those suggestions. And did I already mention this? Try to add information to your tree that have reliable sources. See if you can find some if there aren't already some there. And you also, and I've done this before, and sometimes I get responses back, sometimes I don't, but I have emailed the owners of other member trees to say, hey, I noticed you've got this person on your tree that I didn't have. Can you tell me more about why you added them? And you might get some context that maybe the information that's on their tree doesn't have if you contact them directly. Like maybe they might say, oh, this is a family legend. When grandpa died, they buried him in the backyard, but there was no headstone, and so you just never know what you're going to find out by, maybe it came from a family Bible or some other source that isn't digitally available out there. When you are looking at the member trees, when you want to select information from one tree to the other or compare them, you'll see your tree on the right and their tree on the left. And you'll see the name of their tree in that kind of a blue color, and the name of the owner, which is their Ancestry member name, underneath that. On this one, it's A. Francis 1065. Anyway, and then it shows the person on their tree and the information they have. So you can compare them side by side as you scroll up and down to look at all the different tree options. And you'll see your tree on the right, so the name of the tree that you're actually in and comparing to for that person. And if you want to do a further comparison on one of these member trees, you can see it says 10 ancestor member trees. We're just looking at that top one. But if that's one you want to review in a little more depth, you just check the box and click on Review Selected Tree Hints. And this is going to bring up a window that so this is where you can extract information from their tree that maybe you don't have. It could be spellings, it could be marriage places or dates, well, all the kinds of information you're looking for on your tree. But you just do that by checking the boxes on the left, and it will update it in your tree on the right. So this is after you've gone through and decided, yeah, this is some information that I want to put on my tree. Granted, you can type it in yourself, but if you want to just transfer it over, this is how you do that. And then it will update it on your side of the tree when you've checked those boxes. And you can click on Save to your tree, and it will update the person in your tree with the information you've selected. So it's kind of nice because you don't have to take every piece of data carte blanche. You just pick and choose the ones that you need or are helpful to you in your research. Okay, then you can see again, they've got the name of their tree here on the left. If I want to go look at their tree and not just do a side-by-side comparison, you can actually click on that. And it's going to take you to their person on their tree. So you can always glance up here on the top left-hand side where it shows the family tree icon and the name of the tree you're looking at. So whenever I'm doing this and looking at other people's trees, it's easy to get a little bit lost and be like, wait a second, am I looking at theirs or mine? So just a quick glance up there on the left is how you're going to double check that, which tree you're looking at. So here's where you can see all of their sources listed, the whole family, you know, the parents, you can click up and down their tree to see other individuals outside of this family or related to this family too.
Nancy,
Yes.
there are a couple of questions.
All right, let me open that up. So
How do you copy from another member tree? And if they have sources you don't, do the sources come too?
So the sources don't come with them, but what you can do is click on the sources when you're looking at that view that I was just on, where you're actually, so when you're on the page where you said, I want to look at the member trees, when you are looking at the hints and you decide you want to look at Ancestry member trees, this is going to take you to this screen where you're looking at all the different tree options, okay? And so let's say you click on the tree you want to look at, or you do the compare. This is the compare is how you copy that information over. So over here where it says review selected tree hints. So when I see a tree that I like the information over there, review selected tree hints, and this is where you click on you toggle the information on or off and copy it to your tree. Let's see, the other question.
Oh, I told you it was, do the sources come with it?
I don't think they do. It's not carte blanche grabbing the whole entire everything about that person. It's just allowing you to add the person to your tree or edit someone on your tree that is already there. The way I would grab their sources is when I'm looking at the view of their tree. So over here on the left, you see the name of that other tree. You can click on any of these sources and then add them to your person. So when you're in a source, there's an option to say save and then save to person on my tree, and you can click the person on your tree. So that's going to be the best way to save their sources that they have to your tree, if they're not coming up as hints already, just individually. And I'm going to be going over that in a little more. We're going to look at sources and how to add sources and stuff in this presentation. So ignoring a hint. If you don't want to see this hint pop up, you've already reviewed it, you've already looked at them, you don't want to see them show up on your hints list, you just click the ignore button. And right next to the new, that circled in red says new 3, undecided 2, ignored 2, accepted 5. When you click ignore, that is going to say we've ignored the hint. And then you can always click on that ignored tab to see ones that you have ignored. So even though you click ignore, they're not gone forever. You can always go back and look at them and change your mind. It just isn't going to show up on your list. And you can click that button, the X button, to close it out. So anytime you click on any of these tabs across the top, new, undecided, ignored, or accepted, you can go back and look at what you've done with hints in the past. And then I'm going to ignore a hint that comes up for a census on this one. and it just pops up right back up there in that same spot. Okay, quick compare. There is a quick compare option on the top right that you'll see above each hint. If you toggle that on, it's going to put the person in your tree on the right and the information in the record on the left. So you can see what you're going to glean in a brief, quick view. It's just the initial kind of decision kind of a thing. Do I want to look at this any further? You want to look at it in more depth, you click on review. And that is going to open up this window to the right. So we're going to go over reviewing hints. So I've got the hint up here. So this is giving me more information about what's in the hint, this 1820 census. So it's showing all of the information that's on there. And if I want to compare the details, I just toggle that on again, and it shows me the record on the left and my person on the right. And you can scroll up and down if there's a lot of information to see, to compare them that way. And if, let's see, if you do decide it as a hint you want, you can, when you scroll down to the bottom, you can say you want to add it to your person. Undecided hints, maybe you pull up a hint and you're not quite sure. And this screen shows it a little better. Does the record match the Jesse Dempsey in your tree? So I say yes, no, or maybe. So this maybe button is where you're going to put it in the undecided category. Might be something you want to go back and look at later, but you're not quite sure. You need to do more research to see if this record is your family or not. Kind of puts it in a category that you can go back to easily. And then it tells you that you've selected something as an undecided hint, and then it's going to give you an opportunity to, you'll see it, your numbers start changing as you add things there. On the right-hand side in that right-hand panel, it asks, why were you undecided about this hint? And you can leave it blank. This is really for you, and it's to help you really as to why you said you weren't sure if this was a good hint or not. You can type in your own reason too. This way, when you go back to undecided hints, you have a quick go-to of why you kind of rejected it, but want to come back to it later. So that can be really helpful as you're looking at hints, you're not quite sure what to do with them yet. All right, adding a record to your tree from hints. Let's go over that. So when you are looking at a record under the hints and you want to review it, you might say, yes, this is a record that belongs with my person, and you want to save that to your tree. So you can click on Save to Tree. After you look at it, you can also check the information on that box to add it to the facts about your person. They were living in 1830 in Gwinnett, Georgia, according to that census. And then you click on Save to Tree, and then same thing, it's going to increase the number of hints you've accepted for that person, and it gives you the opportunity to say why if you want to, or you can just ignore that, that's optional. All right, under the search category, when you're on a person's person page and you click in the search button on the top right hand side, it's going to open up the search window for, and it autofills all of the information here for your search. You can see on the left, has his name, his birth date and place, marriage, death, everything I know about him that was in my tree is automatically put into the search category. So you don't have to go in and type it in. At the very top, it lists the individual with their parents and their children. You can scroll up and down if there's more than 3 or 4 kids, and their spouse. It shows all that at the top, so you kind of have that at a glance at the top as you're going through these 7,000 hints. Anybody who's looked at all the hints, I want to meet that person, because wow, I never have. I usually hit the first few pages or I go to the filters and try to narrow it down so I get better hints at the top, right? There's a lot you can do here. So you can also browse by category. There's different ways you can control how your search goes. Another thing it's going to show you here near the top for the person are the hints that you've already added. So it's not going to bring those up as new hints. If you've already associated a hint within Ancestry to the person, it's going to put them all here at the top. So that's pretty nice. Then you're not seeing those same hints that are at the top. They just show up in this little more condensed grouping, and then you can scroll down for other things. Browsing by category is going to take you to, well, what it says, the different categories of the search engines within Ancestry. So for instance, here we've got census lists, birth, marriage, death, military, all that good stuff. So you can toggle that on or off. You can see how many results come up by looking at the little box at the bottom or the top right. And then underneath that number 64 on this screen, you'll see how many records are associated with each individual list. You can also get to browsing by category way over here. Circle all the way around on the left-hand side underneath the search criteria and go to all collections. And I'm going to go over search record filters. As you scroll down on that same search page, you'll see all collections. And here's that census and voter list that has 64 options. You can also search by country. So, you know, maybe you're looking for this Jesse Dempsey and you know he lived in Asia. And that's the only part of the world you want to look. Well, there are only 5 records associated with that. So of these 7,000 options it gave me, you know, this is one way to get over here and try to drill down to the specific type of document or area of the world that you want to look at, or even the date time frame. Maybe you're just looking for them in the 1800s. You know, let's kick everything out that isn't 1700s by just looking at that. So there's the filters are pretty powerful. So you definitely want to play around with those and use those as you're doing research on Ancestry. This is showing a filter where I've selected, I want to look at court documents and I want to just see tax lists. And I know that my person lived in Georgia. So I come down here, I can see they have 4 documents for Georgia property tax lists. So I click on that and it's just going to bring those right up to the top for me. So I can review those. Okay, so viewing and navigating images once you find the digital images that you want to look at. So if I hover my mouse over the top, it's going to pop out this little preview window where you can choose to view the image or view the record. If I click on view the record, it brings up this screen that tells me everything about this record that they've extracted. But if I want to look at the actual image, because not everything gets extracted off images, then you're going to, let's see. I better back up. So you can share the image, you can print the image, you can save the image, or at least this document. And then clicking on the image is how you view the image. All right, when I click on the image, it brings me to it's going to fill the screen now, and I'm going to have a few options here. I can click on full screen, and that's going to get rid of everything on the top, where I can just fill the whole entire screen with my image. You can click on that again to change that. If you want to save this to a person on your computer from this view, if you find them on the document, you want to save it, you just click on save. And you can select the person from your tree. If you want to close this view, you just click on the X on the left. Or if you hover in the middle, an X will show up here. This is going to exit you out of full screen also. So the far left one will close the view. The middle one just closes the full screen view. If you want to collapse the information tab on the right, this window that shows up on the right, you can just toggle that open or closed with this arrow, left and right arrow button. There is a tools menu from when you're viewing a document. From here, you can print, you can download the image to your flash drive or hard drive. You have options to rotate the image if it's been brought in, turned. or there's writing on this. Sometimes there's writing on the sides of documents that I want to have to turn sideways to see. You can flip the image horizontally and vertically, and you can also invert the colors. I use this quite a bit when documents are really hard to read. For some reason, I don't know why, the adjustment of your eyes looking at it on the screen, if you make the background black and the foreground, the writing white, sometimes you can read a document a little better. That's where you'll find that under the tools here. There are also setting options. You can decide if you want your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So you can toggle these off according to your preferences, enhance the images, go to the basic viewer. And you can also get to helps and tips or report a problem with the image from here. If you click on the helps and tips and feedback, it's going to take you here where it's going to give you suggestions of how to use these features if you're having any trouble with them. So you've got image tools, navigation, printing, saving, and the name label overlay. If you want to share this document, and you click on this little right turn arrow, it's going to open up a window that you can email it to someone. You can copy the link and email it, or copy it to a document maybe you have, so you can get back to the link again of where this is, or you can post it on Facebook, or that's the one they've got right now is their default option. But copying the link, you can share it with anybody just about anywhere on any kind of platform. And zooming in and out is also found here on the right to zoom in and out of the image. You can also use the scroll button on your mouse if you have that selected. And when you want to return to the source page for the image, you just click the X on the top left of the image, or you use your browser back button, and that will take you back to the search window. So you do go to two different places based on which one you click on. All right, saving a record to a tree. So here I am back at the window that tells me about the image, and I've got the image there that I can look at. I can save, when I click on save, it gives me the option to save the record to that person. I can save it to someone else in the tree, or you can save it to your shoebox. So you just click on these things, and remember your shoebox is found on the home tab. You just scroll down, it's on the right-hand side. I think it's under a little category called tools. So if you save it to your shoebox, that's a quick way to get back to that document. And if the save to someone in your tree, that's if sometimes I'll bring up a document that is suggested. I'll be like, oh no, this document is for his dad, Jesse, not him. So I would click on save to someone in your tree, and then go type in Jesse Dempsey and select his father to attach the document to him. All right, when you want to add the new information to your tree from that document, and you want to save it to the person, it's going to open a window that gives you the opportunity to add information that's been extracted on the left to the person on the right. You can choose whether or not to toggle that on, and then just click save to your tree. It's on the top, it's on the bottom, lots of places to save. And then you'll see it show up under the Ancestry sources. Gotta watch my time here, we're getting close. We're getting close to the end too though, so. All right, adding sources from outside Ancestry. You'll see there's an add button here, and it's going to give the option to add a source or add a web link. If you want to create your own source, let's say you've gone to a library and you pulled out a book and you're reading information in a book and you want to add this as a source, you want to type in all the information about the source and create a citation. Think research papers in high school, right? College. We all had to do them at some point in our life. So this is creating a custom citation from within Ancestry. Fill out all the information and click submit. And then it will show up under the sources. So there's a second category under Ancestry sources that is the sources outside of Ancestry. You can also add a web link, but it's in the same column. So adding a web link, you just copy and paste the URL in and type a name for the web link. Which you can create a source from a website outside of Ancestry from there. So here you see your sources in the middle. All right, search filters. We talked a little bit about this, but when you're doing a search, this little pencil is where you edit the search if you want to change anything within the parameters that got brought in. If you want to start a brand new search that's completely blank, just type on those 3 ellipses from this page, and that will bring you to a blank search. And this is, it will open up like this if you're going to edit what's already there. You can change or add any of these information about families, places, dates. You can eliminate children from the search. Maybe you just want to do a search with no children. Lots of different possibilities to fill in. And you can also toggle on and off what types of documents are going to show up in your search. And click search once you've made the changes. You can also be specific about what country you want the search criteria to come up from. And this is just a blank search where you have to fill everything in yourself. So these are all shortcuts that come up from this pull-down menu to specific filters as listed, but they aren't all the filters. Here's where you're going to see more detailed filters that you can choose from. So don't think you're limited by just what you see in the pull-down menu. This is showing an empty search. You can search by location. If you know where an individual lived, you just click on that, and it's going to tell you how many collections are available within that locale. So I clicked on New York, it said there are about 1,000. You can change what country and what part of the world that you want to look at. Want to go to Europe, just click on Europe and do a search from there. You can select the country or click on the little icons on the map to see how many records are available within a certain locale in the world. And you can zoom in and out on the map by the plus and minus button or with your middle scrolling button. And at the very bottom of the search is view all in card catalog. So the last thing we're going to look at here is the card catalog. This is super powerful. I need more than 2 minutes to do this, but that's what I've got right now. The card catalog has everything that Ancestry has. They have hundreds of thousands of collections that you can search. You can come here and you can type in a keyword or a title of a search you want to make, or you can filter by specific kinds of records and locations. I suggest going by location and type of record. Usually that, you kind of know what you're after, right? I'm looking for a marriage certificate in certain, in a certain state or something. Here you'll see the titles listed and the category that collection falls within: pictures or birth, marriage, death, military. Tells you the number of records within that collection and the activity. So they always pop new ones up here at the top, and that's one of the filters if you only want to see new stuff. Or you can also sort by the date added, record count, the date updated, or collection title. There's lots of powerful search ability here. You can filter by date, and that's going to take us to the end. But that was a really big, brief overview, kind of a little bit of a deep dive into some of the aspects we haven't looked at yet. And if you want to see the slides from this presentation, you can go to BYU's Family History website, or you can go directly to nancybusbyfamilyhistory.com/ancestry, and it has the slides from this if you want to review them again. Thanks.